Welcome to Daily 614, where we're learning to be a cheesier gamer. We've already seen how this just strikes at a nice time. We have a little bit of containment going on here. And now we're going to see the art of follow-through. This is the thing that impresses me most about Maru in these games. He's just great at following through. I mean, that missile turret's coming up pretty swiftly. And what Maru is going to do is just spend as much time humanly possible killing off as much as he humanly possibly can with this banshee. Which, of course, inevitably dies, but that's fine. Second banshee en route. Now, Innovation is doing a good job just holding steady. But watch this move. I love this move. When the banshee moves up here, it serves as a guide to allow this mine to move up a little bit more. What gorgeous coordination. We not only know what's at the front, but now nothing's going to be exiting the front, unless we are 100% sure about it. Now this move for the Banshee, this is very calculated. First Banshee went in here and harassed anything it could to make the focus of Innovation's defense the main. Defend the main as much as humanly possible with missile turrets galore. And then the second Banshee hooks up, so that way this move out is completely protected. This is not an all-in play. Maru actually sending an SCV to get ready to expand. Nothing but units getting churned out, stopping at the 3 Banshee mark. But also this Banshee curls around to the front to pick off any units that could possibly be here. If there are units, we just kill them off. If the units are still holed up back in the main, then perfect. This will provide time for our tanks to siege up. So here are the units at the front. Innovation smartly is planting them on that backside. So just picking off whatever he can here. Widowmine moves up to advance. Look how the Banshee immediately tries to pick off the Marines and does so successfully. This tank is way overambitious and is just like at the front immediately. However, we are not actually sieging up aggressively, even though we totally can. It's free to do that. We're just basically charging, and of course this mine getting all the added utility as being part of the fight. Bam! We're also seeing some other smart moves by Maru that are going to be happening right around 8:30. Again, the follow-up from Maru is what I think is truly brilliant. Look at the production for Maru, churning out tanks and Marines. This is right when this push began. This SCV is moving forward to try to take the expansion. However, notice this Banshee incidentally picks up, oh my god, researching tech lab. Factory not doing anything. Innovation is going to try to transition into some cloaked Banshees. Maru immediately abandons this plan. He begins getting a Viking, he begins getting an engineering bay, and is not going to go overboard with the expand. And this is before the attack has even come up. Maru is thinking long-term with this play. It's going to wind up winning, so I wouldn't necessarily call this a cheese. It's just an aggressive one-base push. It does have a pretty damn high win percentage if you are executing it as well as Maru is. Still no siege up. Just getting into the money position. Sieging up very, very, very dangerous against someone who's potentially having some Banshees that can pick stuff off. And no really big reason to. I mean, the tanks work great as units to be microed. So upon losing off the Banshee, there's the GG from Innovation. Cool. Now, our opponent very well could have gone more Vikings and more Banshees, but this is still striking so early. And in fact, let's go ahead and ask ourselves that question. Oops. If we pull back to, let's go to 7. What's going on at 7:30? Very often players will go non-stop Hellion and non-stop Viking. And we can actually calculate how much would be there for our push that arrives at 9 minutes. So if it's arriving at 9 minutes, we can actually pull back here to 7 minutes and say, well, how much stuff do we have? Well, at 7 minutes, we had 3 Hellions, so we could potentially be up against 7 Hellions and 4 Vikings, maybe? Does that sound right? I think so. Sounds pretty reasonable to me. But that's one of the benefits of this mine banshee thing. If for some reason we got here and saw way more Hellions than we thought we could kill, we can just pull back. The mine helps contain against the player who does go for that. Just very well coordinated little push by Maru. So that was game 1 of the series. So of course that started off, and everyone was like, "Oh, Maru, you're trying to cheese invasion, being a jerk." You had no idea how cheesy he was about to be. We're going to see the same build happen from Innovation in this game, but a different one from Maru. So let's go ahead and open it up. This is me having to log in, because again, it boots you out of the internet because of stupid patch changes that made the game better, but make my show harder. Blizzard, you think that they clearly don't care. Oh, and now I have to log. It's an offline replay load. Esports is over. Guys, go home and play Skyrim, because this, I have to open and close something twice. Kill me immediately. Alright, it's open. Perfect. I'm back from the dead. This next game is going to be on Belshir Vestige, which has a couple of notable properties to it. I think most notably of all in this game is going to be how easily droppable this area is. This is a very wide area to cover. In fact, our front is also very wide to cover. So it's easy to think about that in terms of how you'd want to play offensively. But we don't think about us first. We want to think about him first. What is he likely to do? He is very likely to go Hellions as an opening on this map, as his core composition, because of this frickin' thing. Hellions are... How would you defend against an attack here? Well, I mean, if you built a bunker, he can slip in this way, he can slip in that way. Hellions can manage this defensively. So we kind of know that if Innovation is going to be playing defensively, he's going to be getting a lot of Hellions. And similarly, if he's getting a lot of Hellions, then he's probably going to be going Vikings to try to defend this line. And notice how quickly it falls out that the only other really reasonable build to do on this map for a mid-game is to go straight for Banshees. Why go straight for Banshees? Because then you are defending this space by just waiting for a long time. You're pulling back here. You're going Banshees at the start, then maybe going Marine Tank to slowly take this. If you want to take a fast expansion, it's going to be Hellion. If you want to take a slow expansion, yeah, you have more options. So, very rapidly, if you even just do research and look at this map, almost everyone either has a lot of Hellions, and as a result Vikings, in their mid-game plan, or they're going straight for Banshees. Let's go ahead and see Innovation's build again, so we can sort of get the sense of why he would do this on this map. Because our timings are not important unless we are basing things off his timings. Barracks coming up very fast refinery, which would generally mean either Reaper or just a gentle factory tech with no expand. Again, this is the gas-based aggression style stuffs. There is a Pectory coming up, a refinery to follow. We are seeing no reactor. We would have seen that by now. So indeed, Innovation is going to be getting his starport, his tech lab. Yeah. Marines are pretty dang important for that versatile defense. And of course, the mines are as equally significant for the versatile defense. Now, Innovation is doing something very odd. Almost always, you would see this 200 gas spent on a Banshee, which costs 100 gas, and Cloak, which costs 100 gas. But instead, it's a Raven that costs 200 gas. This is a little bit of a metagame play. This is Innovation saying the probability of you going Banshee is high. Very, very high. So I will get this starport up. But, very easy question. What the hell do you do if your opponent just doesn't go for a Banshee? Well, easy. Because we have this Raven, we can use this as a key support unit in an upcoming push. Because, as many of you know, a lot of the Terran Seeker missile stuffs are going to be a lot stronger. Seeker missile, 75 instead of the old 125. So very often you'll see a Raven pop out, and then it'll just be reactor add-on. This factory will go to this tech lab, and then the starport will begin producing medevacs or Vikings, and it'll be a pretty swift push after that. There are options. to pop off of this. Now, most of the rest of the time, I want you to pretend that it's going to be a Banshee. I want you to pretend that Banshee research is happening. So, Ravens take 60 seconds, Banshees take 60 seconds. So right around now, that's when that Banshee would be popping out, and what do you know, Joe? It's a medevac drop. Nya, you see? Nya. Really nice timing. First of all, this is where I'm going to begin the discussion of Maru's play. We just noted that the Banshee would have just popped out. Technically, Innovation could have gone gas first and shaved off a little bit of time, which would make this drop even stronger, because we'd be arriving right as the Banshee had left the base. Ha! So we would be going in there and having a field day, just free reign up in the main, bringing some pain on his brain, mainly in the plains. I'm going to jump out a window pretty soon here, because that was probably the low point of my career, that series of rhymes, but it actually feels good to have hit the all-time low of my career. It's sort of a nice burden off my shoulder to know that everything from here after will be better. That's wonderful. That's good. I think it's a real milestone that I've just achieved today. Let's go back to being a better gamer, shall we? This is time for some better gamering. Shall we? I think we should. So this timing is a defensive timing from Maru. We can actually just note generally a Banshee should be popping out maybe at like 5:40. I can't remember the exact timing of this. Gosh, I should know that. If only I had... No, that's not it. Where is it? Where? Yeah. Sure wish I'd known. Pretty sure it's 6 minutes. It's a little before then. If anyone wants to just look up the time as to when a Banshee finishes, I just can't remember for the life of me. Alright, so 6:20 is when it comes off. I'm pretty sure it's like 6 or 5:55 if you rush for it. So again, this is a nice defensive timing. If the Banshee, if it was a gas first opening, it would be moving out. Everything else, you're going to be up against not so much. So that's where I want to begin the things from Maru's point of view, by noting that this timing from Maru is inherently defensive. We can't think, well, not inherently defensive. I should say that it has the inherent bonus of being a defensive play, but it's clearly designed to bring some noise. And the reason I begin with that is, again, it's so easy to think of what our timings are. I want to kill him fast. What's the fastest possible way for me to do a drop? Not as relevant as all of his timings and what your drop is exploiting. So let's look at the Maru cam. The Maru cam. The Maru cam. He's getting depots as fast as he can. Alright, great. Refinery first. Barracks next. Sending out this SCV has the added bonus of, if it does do a little dip here, finding if anything cheesy is going on. Just checking to make sure that there is no crazy barracks play. Notice what a nice defensive move this was. This wasn't designed to sneak over here. It was timed to spot some sort of proxy, so that way we know what to do with our units. And then this spot here, everything clear, no Marines coming, good. Good. Head on up there. Alright, reactor now going down. Marine spreading himself out a little bit, investigating. And there's going to be a really cool thing coming up. The cutting of all production. Truly a cheesy cheese play. Air comes out a Hellion, and here comes out more Marines. Now, I ask you this. Why not give this factory to the reactor? Why not do that? Why not be building a whole bunch of Hellions? Because if our opponent is going for fast Banshee, well, we'll have almost no anti-air unless we're producing Marines 2 at a time. We want to make sure this drop can actually go toe-to-toe with a Banshee. More importantly, we're doing a drop with a medevac, and Hellions can't really make use of the medevac. There are builds where you go for Hellion drops or Hellbat drops, but that has an expand added in there. Because we don't have that as Maru, we want to avoid that. And once we get up to a lovely 16 SCVs in the main, that's basically when we cut. Cutting production. Geed. Hellion moves forward. Now, we've been talking a lot about what's been going on in the base. Let's take a look at the unit movement from Maru. This is Hellion number 1. Secures a watchtower. Alright, troops. Start moving out. Dun, 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 dun. Goes to the second watchtower. Move out, troops. Dun, dun, dun. Once he sees that the vision is clear, that's when he begins to go, go, go. And certainly, you know, the starport's finished up, and he's beginning to get Wedevacs. But we know vision is clear, and in fact, moves so freaking all the way far up to the front, you might go, well, is that bad? Is he going too far forwards? No, man, he's just clearing the way. So then, in fact, when this medevac pops out, he's just going to load them all up, do a quick skirt over here. Here it is. Very nicely timed. Not boosting immediately. Wanting to boost here, if at all. I say if at all because, well, for one, Maru didn't do it. But also to note, remember, we gotta be thinking a little bit about defense here. We can't just go in guns blazing. We have to be able to retreat effectively, because Maru is going to be following this up with a second medevac. Normally, a Banshee would have just popped out right now. It's very easy to want to preemptively build the Viking, but we don't know that yet. This is going to be keeping a Banshee occupied very well enough. And hell, if there is a Banshee coming, we just instantly build an engineering bay and weather the storm for a little bit. Ooh, also like to note, if we look at this orbital command timing, we almost have enough for a scan. But the target fire on the mine was excellent enough. Some nice little micro. Innovation really should be trying to shoot down that the Hellions first. But now I have this very nice little timing where, wow, we have 2 of the exact same drops back to back, even accounting for having lost a couple of dudes. SCV's moving up to the little cheesy push too. This is the first SCV that Maru has used or has built since this attack began. Cool, huh? Pretty cool, huh? And the second cheese drop, the goal of this is to just get out. Just to get him out of the medevacs. Not trying to drop by the mineral line, but just trying to get into the main. Because I'd like to note, at 7 minutes, what do we see in Innovation's base? Well, 4 Marines and that's it. What if we were up against Innovation in the last game? Well, at around 7 minutes, we can actually just compute that he'd have 6 Hellions, 1 Viking, and 6 Marines. This is the ideal, but keep in mind, we've already done a drop that happened just after 6 minutes. So if we're up against 6 Hellions, 1 Viking, with 6 Marines, and we've killed off some, I can imagine this being down to, maybe, I'm going to be conservative and say 5 Hellions and 3 Marines. And now we're in here. We're seeing a whole slew of Marines with healing. We have an SCV there also for the healing on the Hellions. This is just a very nicely timed attack, with, of course, the Viking in production. The heal on 2 medevacs is super significant, not even kiting with these Marines, just shooting. And he gets them! And he gets them. Now, because I'm going to blow my head off after this whole, it's got to reload Stark. Oh god, look at this, what a crisis. We're going to do one more game in this series, or excuse me, in this segment, because it's 4.5 minutes long. Maru led the series 2-0, and everyone's like, oh, dude, totally. This is done, and it's over. Innovation's going to come back. He's going to weather the storm. For some reason, everyone who was discussing the series must have been severely drunk because they were slurring their speech like crazy. Did you hear that? Wow. But in the moment while we're loading this game up, the metagame consideration of this is really significant. I want you to think about how cheesy the plays felt. One base aggression, it's kind of annoying, how frustrating. And then the second phase is, wow, that was actually quite a bit more aggressive. Almost always in that situation, you would expect your opponent to do something very macro heavy right now. This is where we see famous plays from Marine King Prime where he's going command center first against Terran. This is where we see a player go 1 Rax, double command center. That is the most common play. It's very rare to see Maru do something like this. Oh, we got Maynard up in the house. What up, Maynard? Loved your casting at IEM Shanghai. Hell yeah, Maynard. Rocking the locks. We just see the classic... Actually, I'll tell you this build really fast. So you rally out Marine number 10, or excuse me, SCV number 10. Right as you want to build the depot, you send that SCV out. Then you send out the next SCV, and then you just kind of ease up on SCVs. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So here he comes. Bam! Barracks going down. And I think Innovation did what is the most standard and expectable metagame play. Whew, just barely didn't scoot. He very expectably saves up for an early expand and goes for it. This is a really good map to do it on because of the fact that you can knock down these rock towers to block your front. And of course your backdoor expansion. If you've never seen this map, it is actually pre-walled off on the backside. So this is really just a mind game play. I don't think anyone really needs to understand the sophistication of kiting Marines. But by God, here's some sophistication of some kited Marines. Oh yes! Check out this Maru-ass motherfucker! Bringing his Marines up on up! Here he comes! Darting on in. Rat-a-tat-a-tat. Builds the bunker. I do think it's significant to note that the bunker is built in a location where the target, which is this command center, if you draw a line from the command center to the barracks, this bunker is on that line. That is so important. It's really easy to go, oh my god, and to build it here because that's where the barracks is, but you cut off your own reinforced path. Notice how nice this is for Maru. I'm actually going to slow this down. He retreats into his reinforcement path. It's very easy if your Marines are here to have them get surrounded because they can't retreat back here properly. The retreat path is the most important thing to protect in these ultra early cheeses. So now look at this. Because this is along the reinforced path, it means it's very easy to directly arrive at. Kiting, kiting, kiting. Who's in a bunker? Who's in a bunker, Maru? You're in a bunker. No, you're not even in a bunker because you've won the game already. Kite, 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 looking forward to the weekend of crying alone because you're down 0-3 and we'll soon be down 0-4. When we come back, I'm in a mood today. When we come back, we're going to look at the 4th game in the series, which is something that I think by and large what people would say is, oh, Maru cheesed 3 times and then just, in the game number 4, he did something totally long-term and he won based on luck because I love innovation. However, I want to note the same theme that we are seeing in all the games, except this recent one because this is just total cheese awesomeness. In game 1 and 2, we saw again and again the defensive possibilities of these plays. And in fact, the even defensive maneuvers. Maru is very smart about how to follow up. In game 1, we saw Maru identify banshees. And this is right as Maru is about to attack, but still builds the Viking for his home defense, builds the engineering bay for his home defense, when Maru was even planning to expand. Abandon that plan to do the smart follow-up. In the second game we saw this really aggressive push play, and there's some key scouting going on. If he scouted, banshees can instantly engineering bay back home, build a turret, and rally a Viking in while still doing these medevac drops. And the medevac drops even cause... It's the ambulance coming because Innovation's down 0-3 right now. And those medevac drops can help defend Banshee plays by virtue of forcing the Banshees to stay home. So in this game, we're going to see some great follow-throughs from Maru in Game 4. Stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to be closing out the series and giving that appreciation to Maru. On a break.